Hello, it's Reija and welcome to another day of VLOGMAS. Today it's time for another episode of Headcanon Hour, and this is a kind of different episode because I am going to discuss Harry Potter. But not in a sense that I will be telling you all about my Harry Potter headcanons and ships. I am going to be doing a sort of interpretation and discussion concerning the Harry Potter world building and how it would affect Finland. So this is my headcanon of what the wizarding world of Finland would look like. I hope you enjoy. So this whole thing started back when I was reading The Goblet of Fire. Way back when I was reading it in Finnish when it had come out in a translated form. So I was quite young, and the whole dynamic between Beauxbaton, Hogwarts and Durmstrang struck me as kind of odd. I was questioning it even then, that the whole of Eastern Europe and Scandinavia and Russia and also sort of the Mediterranean would have the same school, and it just felt really weird, and I was kind of put off by it because I was like, this is very Russian inspired. Where do all the other countries fall in? And this was the thought I had when I was a kid. And then J.K. Rowling came up with Ilvermorny and all of the other international wizarding schools, and this thought was kind of exacerbated for me. I didn't like it, I thought it was very shoddy world building, and I have started forming up my own headcanons about what the wizarding world and especially the wizarding education system would look like in my own country if my country was presented in the Harry Potter world. So these are my thoughts. First of all, I think that in Finland, Finnish history is basically that we were first a colony of Sweden for like 500 years, and then we were a Grand Duchy of Russia for almost 200 years. We have been independent for about 100 years now. Okay? 100 years. So, thinking about the Finnish wizarding world without the context of Finland as a colony, you can't do that. The fact that Finland is sandwiched between two major superpowers, well, Sweden is not a superpower anymore, but it was. The fact that Finland is sandwiched between these two countries has had such a major impact on Finnish history, culture, language, everything. And it would be absurd to think that it would not have an effect in the wizarding world as well. So my thought is that Finland would have several schools of magic. You'd have these Swedish wizards left over from the colonial times in the western parts of Finland. You would have kind of commingling between Russian and Savo-Karelian wizards in the east, and you would have the indigenous Sami wizards down in the up in the north. And all of these wizards would have their own belief systems and their own thoughts on how to do magic. But I am going to focus on the Finnish wizards because I am Finnish and I don't have Swedish or Sami blood in me, so I can't speak for those cultures. So I will talk about my thoughts on the Finnish wizards. I think that Finnish wizards would not use wand magic. it would not be a thing. I think Finnish magic would be linked to a sort of inner power, because in Finnish mythology it is believed that every single living thing has an inner power called väki, which is the strength, the core of you. Every living creature has this. And this in turn, it follows that there are animals, for example bears, foxes and wolves, thought to have the greatest väki. So I think that amulets made of animal parts would be a huge thing. I also think that the Finnish magic system would be very musical. Songs would be used as spells. Maybe instead of wands, wizards and witches would use instruments like the kantele. So in that sense, it would be very different from your standard Harry Potter magic. The spells would be songs, like in the Kalevala. Think of Väinämöinen. He's basically our idea of a wizard. He is the Merlin character in Finnish mythology and Finnish epic. And when it comes to education, the whole boarding school system just acts that thing. That would not work here. We don't have boarding schools. We have maybe like one, and that is like an art school or private institution. We don't have those. Considering that the wizarding world tends to operate like a few decades behind the Muggle world, I would say that the Finnish wizarding education would be based on an apprentice-mentor kind of relationship. Wizards and witches would send their kids to be mentored or fostered by other wizards. That's what I think would happen. And I would also think that since Finland is a very pragmatic country and there is a sort of pagan bent even to our Christian Lutheran faith, Finnish people have always kind of adapted our mythology and pagan beliefs into whatever sect of belief someone else has tried to push on us. So in that way, the Finnish old religion kind of commingled with the Lutheran faith that the Swedes brought to us. So in that sense, I would say that the Muggle relations between Finnish wizards and witches would actually be better than in the Harry Potter canon in Britain. I would think that the Finnish Muggle government would be very happy to cooperate and commingle with Finnish wizards and witches. I would think that every town and every village would have their own celebrated witch or wizard, considering that kind of magic and spellcrafting has always been a thing that Finns have been into. So that's my 2 cents on the Finnish wizarding world. I think Finnish wizards and witches would make use of amulets. I think divination and augurs would be a huge thing. And I would think that the Muggles and wizards and witches would commingle and intermarry a lot. And yeah, what are your thoughts on your countries and how the wizarding world would work in your country? Let me know in the comments, and I will be happy to discuss this topic with you. Thank you for watching, and I will see you tomorrow for another day of Vlogmas. Bye bye!